They called him invisible. But they had no idea the ghost they dismissed was the one holding their entire world together. Don't forget to subscribe. Your support is what will help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. The storm began on an ordinary Thursday morning as Elijah Cole stepped into the gleaming marble lobby of Halden Pierce Industries, a place where his presence was always noticed but never acknowledged. He felt the stares before he heard the whispers. A white security officer, tall, smug, and bored with authority, eyed him like an intruder rather than an employee. "Badge," the guard barked, even though Elijah had scanned it seconds earlier. "I scanned in already," Elijah replied calmly. "Do it again," the guard said, louder this time, attracting attention. Two interns giggled as if watching entertainment. Elijah scanned the badge. Green light flashed. Still, the guard stepped in front of him. "What's in the bag?" "My laptop." "Same as every day." "Open it." The arrogance wasn't new, only more shameless today. Elijah unzipped the bag while the guard inspected each item with unnecessary slowness, as if searching for something to justify his tone. Employees passed by without a word, pretending not to see. Others smirked. To them, Elijah was a shadow, tolerated but never truly welcomed. As the guard finally waved him through, Elijah walked toward the elevators. He heard someone mutter, "At least he's lucky to work here." Lucky, a word they used like a leash. They didn't know he was the reason this building even functioned. They didn't know the systems they relied on were built from the brilliance they never credited. They didn't know Elijah wasn't just another worker. They didn't know his name was whispered in rooms they'd never enter, that his mind held solutions even the executives couldn't decipher. But today the world would know. Before the elevator doors closed, Elijah exhaled deeply and whispered to himself, "I won't stay a ghost forever." On the 39th floor, the arrogance thickened like fog. Elijah approached the glass-walled boardroom where a crisis meeting had been called. The company network had crashed at dawn, servers failing, systems freezing, millions at risk. Executives panicked, but when Elijah entered, conversation halted. Not out of respect, out of irritation. Maintenance input should wait outside. A senior manager snapped without looking up. "I'm not maintenance," Elijah said, steady but restrained. A blonde executive scoffed. "Then why are you in here?" Because they didn't know. Because they never asked. Because bias blinded them so completely that even truth whispered beside them went unheard. Elijah took a breath. "I built the security framework that's failing. I'm here because you need me." The room fell into sarcastic laughter. One man leaned back and said, "Listen, we already called external consultants. Real experts. You can return to whatever you do." He felt the sting, but he also felt the rising flame inside. They thought he was less. They thought they could speak down to him, belittle him, erase him. The COO waved him off like dust. "We don't have time for this." That was when the monitors flickered. Every screen in the room turned black, then displayed a single message. System structure compromised. Root access required. Gasps erupted. Panic rose. Phones buzzed. No one knew what to do. No one except Elijah. He stepped forward. "If I walk out of this room, your entire network collapses permanently." They stared at him, the first flicker of fear crossing their faces. For the first time, he wasn't invisible. Silence took over the room, thick, paralyzing. Executives exchanged frantic glances. The COO swallowed hard. What do you need?" he asked, suddenly polite. "Access," Elijah said. "And respect. Both of which you've denied me since the day I walked into this building." The CEO, pale and trembling, motioned toward the main terminal. "Fix it, please." Elijah approached the workstation. They had refused to let him touch minutes earlier. His fingers moved with calm precision. Lines of code spilled across the screen, revealing the catastrophic oversight the executives had ignored. Their external consultants had made things worse. Elijah was the only one who understood the architecture because he had designed it, not for praise, but for excellence, and they erased him from his own creation. As he worked, the room watched in stunned silence. The arrogance that once filled the air evaporated. Every keystroke exposed their ignorance. Every command revealed the depth of his brilliance. And then, exactly 14 minutes later, the system roared back to life. Servers stabilized. Connections restored. Data secure. A collective breath released, but Elijah wasn't finished. He turned to them, shoulders steady. "You judged me before you knew me. You dismissed me without reason. You saw my skin before my skill, my presence before my power. And today, that nearly destroyed this company." No one spoke. Not one person met his eyes. The room that once silenced him now had no... The CEO finally stepped forward. Elijah, we owe you... Elijah raised a hand. Don't apologize to clear your conscience. Change your system to prevent this from happening to anyone else. The words hung heavy, truth too solid to ignore. The executives looked around, confronted by the reflection of their own bias. For the first time, they saw Elijah, not as a shadow, not as a ghost, but as a man whose dignity had never been theirs to grant or deny. He gathered his bag and walked toward the door. But before leaving, he turned back with a calm intensity. Remember this. The people you underestimate are often the ones holding up the ground you stand on. Treating them with dignity isn't mercy, it's justice. As he left the boardroom, employees stared with new eyes. The same guard who had humiliated him earlier now stood speechless. Elijah walked past him without a word. He no longer needed to prove anything. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, warm against his skin. Elijah smiled, knowing his story was more than survival. It was revelation. A reminder to the world. Never judge a soul by the biases you inherited. Greatness has no color. Dignity is non-negotiable. And justice always finds its voice, even in a living ghost. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more powerful stories that shine light, truth, and dignity. Your support helps keep these stories alive.